Welcome in to episode 011 of the Modern Dealer Podcast. My name is David Farmer with Entice, and with me, as always, is David Bertoncini. How you doing, David?
I'm really well. I'm here. I'm ready to roll. This is going to be a good episode because, I love talking about social and how salespeople can organically build their tier 4 social media in the dealership.
Absolutely, and that is exactly what our main topic is going to be. And I had a great opportunity today to spend time with about 60 salespeople this morning, talking about social media, how they can build their personal brand and leverage social media. And what we've talked about on the Modern Dealer Podcast over the last few weeks is really the contrast between what it was like selling cars in the 90s, pre-internet, pre-social media, and all the tools that salespeople have today to utilize and leverage social media. And that is such an exciting topic. And I think it really resonates with dealers. I think it really resonates with the modern dealer, is how can a dealership leverage social media to build a greater audience and reach out to the community and encourage those customers to come in and visit a dealership. So social media for salespeople, very exciting topic. So one of the things, David, that I started doing about a month and a half ago is on my Twitter account, at David Allen Farm. I do a social media tip for salespeople every single day. And I do this in a way that really provides, my goal is to provide kind of a step-by-step on specific things that a salesperson could do to leverage social media and kind of take the mystery out of what it means to post on social media. So we're going to go through a couple of our social media tips for salespeople. Now, I know that you do a lot of work with dealerships in creating social media departments and leveraging social media for salespeople and for I want to say social media departments and what they can do as a dealership in addition to individual salespeople. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And I know the way that you like to be able to communicate that is through a social media calendar, which I think is just a brilliant idea. And then with that, you go through some specific tips as well. Is that correct?
Yes. So basically mapping out your week on what you're going to post, because here's where dealerships and salespeople will fall short, is they just don't know what to post.
Right.
And your tips of the day are phenomenal. So if you're following those tips of the day, each platform is going to require a different piece of content. I mean, it could be the same topic, but you need to deliver it differently.
Right.
So if you're going to deliver something, let's say on Instagram, then like my tip of the day would be, let's click on this one here. So tip of the day is what to bring to the car dealership when buying a vehicle. So you can give customers, these are tips that as a salesperson, I focus on giving tips to the customer.
Yep.
So to build your brand better, to make yourself more aware, posting daily tips for a customer that they can use. It's like, hey, you're not pitching. You're not trying to pitch that, hey, we got, $299 a month on a RAV4. We've got, buy 3, get 1 free on tires. It's none of that. It's not what you typically hear the daily mumble chatter.
It's not advertising, right? It's not the pitch.
It's not the pitch. It's that's why it's social. It's going to be a two-way conversation. So you continuously give people tips, just like Gary Vee. Gary Vee says, jab, 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 right hook.
Yep.
So I mean, it's the same approach with social media. We give all this information, and then when we earn the right to pitch something, then you've earned the right to pitch something. But somebody's taking some ideas from what you've been talking about for the last few weeks. Somebody can share an inspirational story of how your tips worked.
Right.
So like today's tip of the day was what to bring to the dealership before purchasing a vehicle. And it can be something simple. It's like, hey, be sure, Mr. Customer, before you come to the dealership and purchase a vehicle, bring an updated insurance card. Or if you're going to take delivery of a vehicle you already know you're going to take delivery of, have that vehicle added to an insurance policy prior to arriving to the dealership. So simple stuff, but it's stuff that we do every day, that it's like riding a bicycle. We don't really think about it. We just do it, and then we expect for the customer to know it. But they don't know this because they don't do this every day. It's what we do every day. It's not what the customer does every day. So give them the tip before they arrive. It's something simple like that. Shoot a video of yourself with that. Or for Instagram, you just put a nice picture. My dealer actually did this. They put a picture of 2 sets of keys in the owner's manual, because it was one of the tips the other day. It was like, be sure to bring the extra keys to your car, because a lot of people forget, oh yeah, I have a second set of keys that I'm sitting in a drawer or gave to my uncle or something. So bring all that so they, it helps out.
Yeah, so education does provide great content for social media, and that was actually one of my social media tips for salespeople. Education provides great content for social media. So this is a tip. Answer questions like, what is the difference between leasing a car versus buying a car? Or what is the difference between horsepower versus torque? What is the difference between a bumper-to-bumper warranty and a powertrain warranty? Now, you can share this information with written content. You can do that on a Facebook post. You can do it on a microblog with Twitter, and you can share it with images and video. So that is one way to use educational information about the process of buying cars, like you were mentioning, what to bring with you, or make sure you bring your extra keys. And then also, as a salesperson, you are an expert on what you're selling. So you can share that, and that becomes great content for social media. And before we get into any others, one of the things that I like to communicate with salespeople is the idea of creating a personal brand and really getting over the arrogance of what that sounds like. And I had to do this for the same thing for myself. Is the idea, okay, I'm gonna build a brand for myself. I don't know, pat myself on the back. But really, it's not about creating a personal brand from an arrogant standpoint. You really have to think about, what is a personal brand? A personal brand is your online reputation. Now, you have a personal brand, an online reputation, whether you're cultivating it or not. I mean, it's who you are. So I think that's an important distinction to make, is that you have a personal brand. We want to help you cultivate that so you can attract more business. What I'm going to do now is I'll get into another social media tip right now. So everywhere people can connect with you should be on your business card. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat. If you're not on all of them, first of all, get on them, right? Get over yourself. Think about each one of these platforms as an additional way to communicate. You communicate customers via text, via email, via telephone, landline. Think about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat just as an alternative way to connect with people and communicate with people. So if you're not on Facebook, get on it. If you're not on Instagram, get on it. I mean, these are just new and different ways that you can communicate with different people. And then make sure that you are connecting with customers. So my social media tip, everywhere that people can connect with you should be on your business card. Make sure you're putting all those profiles.
Omnipresence.
Omnipresence, yes.
So omnipresence is definitely what, to cover all these platforms. So my little sister-in-law, she sells cars at a Toyota dealership. She's 19 years old. She delivered 21 cars last month, crushed it. And she did not want to be on Facebook because that's not her generation. That's not her platform. She's like, oh, Instagram. I had to twist her arm and beg her. I'm like, come on, you got to be on Facebook. And when she got on there, she actually sold a car from her Facebook.
Beautiful.
From her Facebook business profile. Helped her build it. She's sharing. She's always, connecting with customers because she's not the same age as her customers. Obviously, she's 19 and she's in a retirement community. So all of her customers are average age or a lot older than hers. But the good news is she was able to set up a profile. and be able to connect with customers that way. If you think back to when you and I were selling cars, how did we communicate with customers? We had telephone, we had fax.
Yep.
We could write them a letter and send it in the mail.
Absolutely. And I did that. We did that, right? We paid for postage. We did thank you cards. You know, there's that guy that came around that helped us do that by bringing in thank you cards, anniversary cards, and sending those. So yes, that's what we did. And that's the way that we had to build our referral business. People today, salespeople today, don't have to rely on snail mail.
No, you don't have to rely on that, but you just think of Facebook as that was your number one way to communicate. It would have been the phone back then for us, or a fresh up. So Facebook to me is like a fresh up. Instagram to me, for a salesperson, that's going to replace basically that phone call. Twitter, you think of it as that type of communication. LinkedIn is if you were B2B at the dealership, if you were selling fleet accounts to sell to like a pool company or a pest control company, that's your LinkedIn connection. And your Snapchat, I mean, different, it sounds crazy, but got to be on Snapchat. I watched an entire presentation today about the 2020 Corvette on Snapchat. Was something I didn't see before. I was like, oh, wow, I was watching this channel and I was just amazed that I got that much information from Snapchat. And now moving forward, we're going to be talking soon about TikTok and how that's just, blowing up because it's just another place to communicate, another place to connect. So.
Yep, absolutely. Another thing that I wanted to share real quick, and this is getting away from the actual social media tips for salespeople, and please search out on Twitter, social media tip, hashtag social media tip for salespeople. All of them are going to be there. I got 40, 45 or 50 of them right now, so you can go through them at your own pace. One of the things I wanted to spend some time on the podcast today is to talk about, well, how can you take some of these ideas and share them on Instagram. So Instagram, we know, is photo driven. And I'm going to share a tip with you that I just started doing, and I'm going to record this so I can include this in the video podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and hit up my screen record right now, and I'm going to share with you this really cool app that I found. Now, the one that I'm using, you don't have to use this one. You can find a bunch others like it, but it allows you to create some really engaging image content. And I've been doing this with the social media tip. So I'm going to open up a Spark Post. This is an Adobe product. I use a lot of Adobe products. And like I said, I'll be sharing this on the screen, so we'll be able to see it. And I can actually put it up right up here, David, on the MDP Studios
Nice.
TV, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So what's really cool about this is they give you templates, and I can take any one of these templates, David, and let's go ahead and find one. Here's a perfect one right here. So this is a really cool template. Now what I can do with this is I can remix this and make a really cool a photo for the social media post, social media tip for salespeople. So I'm just going to go ahead and click remix this template. Now I can go in here and I can select the text, I can edit the text, and then I can say social media tip for salespeople, right? So I do that, I hit done, and then boom, it's right in there. I can resize it so it looks a little bit different. I can bring it down.
I like that military font.
Yeah, it's really cool, right?
Yeah.
I can bring it up. I can bring this right down here. I can just put in David Farmer. Boom, so now I got that there. I can edit it. Let me put capitalize. Oops.
The name of this one was the software?
This is Adobe Spark.
Spark, okay.
Yeah, and then I can come in here and I can grab any photo that I have in my photo library. And let's just say that one of my favorite ones right here is when we were having fun doing the Steve Jobs pose. So we're going to do that. So you can see right here, I can even change the color of this, and I'm just going to wrap up with that.
There you go.
And then lastly, let me just go ahead and adjust the image filter. I can make it black and white, boom, now done. Then I can share that, I can save that as an image, and I can use that. So now what I've been able to do is in a few minutes, literally created a unique piece of image content that can be associated with everything else that you have in your social media tips. So you were mentioning a little bit earlier that you can do what do you bring to the dealership when you purchase a new vehicle. You can create an image of a set of car keys, which you can grab an image from, do a Google search, you can save it to your phone, you can add it here, and then you can add some content in a text overlay. Now you have an original piece of content that you can share on Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms if you choose. So there's some blocking and tackling, some ABCs of something that you can specifically do. Use this app or another app to create new, rich, compelling social media content for salespeople. So for your Instagram post. I just wanted to share that with you, David, because I think that was a pretty cool thing that people can do for Instagram directly.
I've used Canva, which
Canva is another great one. Yes.
Yeah, Canva is really popular. So you can do very similar, and that seemed a little easier to use than Canva because it didn't seem as cluttered. Because sometimes you get into these apps, there's like so much, and you're like, all right, what do I hit here? And you're light years ahead of me on some of the apps, but that would look really simple to use. So promoting Spark would be definitely. We'll put that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
That piece of software.
A couple really cool animated GIFs you can create with that product and other products. So again, what we want to do is with our social media tips for salespeople is that we don't want to just talk about the mushiness. Yeah, you should be on social media. Yeah, you need to build a personal brand. Yes, it's important. I think most people know that. I think what they don't know is, well, what do I do right now? And that's what we want to be able to share with them. It's
like anything. I mean, you read a good book on sales and such, and like, okay, then how do I apply this? So what we're doing here today in the Modern Dealer Podcast is taking, the principles, and we're actually using application. It's like, this is how you can apply that tip of the day, and using Spark, taking that, making a piece of content that you would give to the salesperson can give to a customer, like, hey, don't forget to bring your extra set of keys, and you have your, take a picture of your hand with 2 sets of keys in there. So just like, little things like that, it makes a world of difference. And the most important thing to me is you're consistently putting yourself out there. It's like when we stood on the point hours waiting for a customer, and then there's 5 or 6 other salespeople, and like, it's my turn or your turn, or whose turn is it? Either which way. But if you were standing out front and the customer came in, you could be sitting inside and the customer came in and said, hey, I'm looking for David. Oh, and of course somebody might try to skate you. I'm David. Or have you worked? I'm like, no, I know who David looks like because David's been sending me pictures, although even not directly, but I've been seeing pictures of David every day.
Yes.
Him with a car, him with a set of keys, him in parts, him in service, him in body shop, him all over the dealership talking about these great tips. So that just puts yourself forward, put yourself ahead of everybody else, because we can scream price, inventory, selection, all we want.
You need to have that personal connection. So you're exactly right. So this is another social media tip for salespeople that I have. This is on slide number 5, which I will share this in the show notes as well. But before I get into that, I do want to share with you my Instagram is david.allen.farmer. Please follow me on Instagram. You can see some of my examples that I've created. Here's I thought I did that one this morning.
So consistency will create inspiration. I like it, social media. Yep.
So the more that you actually post, the better that you're going to get, and the more inspiration that you're going to have. So picking up on what you were just saying a moment ago is really creating that persona online and getting your face out there. I love this one. People like buying from people they know. This is a tried and true message that we've been hearing that's probably been around since the 1800s when it comes to sales, right? Post a selfie of you with each person in your dealership. Include a mini bio, years at the dealership, and why they love their job. Do it once per week, selfie Saturday, and make sure that they connect with you so you can tag them. So just think about this. you're a salesperson at a dealership. It's Saturday morning. You just had your sales meeting, right? And it's rah, rah, rah. We're getting out there. We're ready to sell some cars. And it's like, everything's going to slow down a bit, right? And you're waiting for a customer. Take that opportunity right there. Walk over to the service department. Grab one of your other salespeople. Find somebody and just let them know, hey, I'm doing this new thing called Selfie Saturday, where I want to take a selfie with somebody else at the dealership and I want to connect with you on social media. Would you be willing to do that with me? So all you have to do, everybody knows how to do a selfie. You grab your phone, you do a selfie. Where can I find you on Twitter or on Facebook? Okay, Facebook, great. You connect on Facebook, you tag them in the post, and I like to do just a mini bio. How long have you worked at the dealership, and why do you love your job? Now, that's two things that everybody in the dealership would be able to provide you. And now your face is with their face. Yep. You just met somebody new that maybe you haven't met before, and you're building value. So now as people are flipping through Facebook, they see your face with somebody else. And what's really cool about this too is that you make a connection with somebody in the service department, and you took the effort to go there and say hello to them. And when they're ready to have somebody come in from their circle of friends, who are they going to send that referral to? Somebody that you made a connection with, right?
Absolutely. I would, when I was a salesperson, I made sure I walked through and talked to every mechanic we had in the dealership, and just to stay friends with them. And like you said, when it was time to get a deal and you get some cheese, well, you got some internal cheese right there. Oh, I've got my sisters coming in to buy a car. I love you, David. You always stop by and chat with and have coffee, and that's kind of just old school connection right there.
Yeah, so. when you work in a dealership like we did, there's over 200 people working in that dealership. So you have a lot of people that you can connect with socially and social media with employees right at your job. So that's a great social media tip for salespeople. Selfie Saturday is already a thing. This just gives you a way to apply that. So I definitely recommend that you do that as well. Another social media tip that I really like, that I think that people can really engage with. But before I get this, and I know we're wrapping up, we're 22 minutes in, and we're going to keep this a 30-minute episode. So this will probably be the last social media tip for salespeople that we provide today. But I want to illustrate the power of the network effect. So the network effect, in really basic understanding of it, is from a social media standpoint. Let's say that I have 200 people that are in my social media friend group, right? And out of everybody that I'm connected with on those 200, each of those people are on average going to be connected with 200 people. So you just do the math on how many people are in your friend group and just that one level deep friend group. That is your ability, that's your opportunity to engage with all of those people. So Facebook and Instagram really becomes an untapped resource for salespeople, where they can reach not just your friends by sharing an organic post, but you put a little bit of paid behind it. So instead of investing in stamps like we used to do, right?
Right.
Now we invest a little bit of social media advertising, which allows you to advertise not only to your friends, but their friends as well. That's how a sponsored post works. You put a budget of $3, $4, $5 per day behind some sponsored posts on Facebook, on Instagram. Now you're able to connect with literally thousands of people that can be potential customers. So you take that Selfie Saturday, you take that video talking about what to bring as a tip, an education, and then you're able to sponsor that and then get that message out into your network. It's a great way to help build your personal brand, even if you're starting at zero.
Want to give one tip. There's a lot of salespeople out there that are afraid scared to get on camera themselves
Yes.
and doing a video or doing a selfie. If you're that salesperson or you're that manager, you're that GM, whichever position you are in the store, here's a great tip. Just post something out there, maybe with your hand in it, maybe, occasional picture. I mean, you can always filter yourself, but post something that you will get engagement from, because at the end of the day, it's really the engagement. So like I like to do trivia Thursday, or sometimes like a Tuesday trivia. If you're a Toyota dealer, I always like to do Tacoma Tuesday or something like that, or Tundra Thursday. But you could do like a trivia Thursday, ask a question, something that has to do with the industry or something to do with your OEM, but ask a question out there and take a poll. I mean, there's so many ways to get some more engagement. And engagement is really the currency on social media, because once you get that engagement, you got that conversation going, you just got yourself an up. I mean, that's a customer. Yeah. That's a customer that's interested in what you're posting, and you have the opportunity to sell a car to.
And it gets easier. So actually, we'll do one last post or one last social media tip for salespeople, because it's so relevant with what you just said. So my social media tip for salespeople: when you start using social media to grow your business and your audience, know that it is hard. It takes commitment. It takes time, and it takes great content. So most people are not going to succeed. Most people are going to quit. What we're asking you to do is to commit to 10 pieces of content per day for 100 days, and don't quit. At the end of the 100 days, you will be transformed into a social media machine. After you've done that, I promise you. I mean, you start doing little videos. If you're uncomfortable, do a video and don't post it. Do another video. Yeah, don't post it. Just get used to making that selfie video. Share it with a family member, and then you get more comfortable. I promise you, if you did 10 pieces of content per day for 100 days, the bottom line is we want you to help build your personal brand, your online reputation, leveraging social media so you can succeed and sell more cars. So my challenge to you is to commit to 10 pieces of content per day for 100 days. It's going to be hard. Yep. It's not easy. We're going to give you all the tools that you need by following both. David, what is your Instagram handle?
Car Flippin' Tips.
Car Flippin' Tips. You can follow me at david.allen.farmer and Twitter at davidallenfarm, and follow us. All this information is going to be included in our show notes. We're here committed to bring you great content on how you can continue to build your personal brand, and our goal is to help you sell more cars. So if you're selling 15 cars right now, you do 10 pieces of content per day for 100 days, I promise you, you're going to pick up another 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, 5 or 6. This will help you sell more cars. So we're coming to the end of our first short episode, and I'm kind of excited about being able to condense everything into one segment. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's short and sweet. So my final tip for this episode will be just create content. Creating content will create customers.
Yep.
So just keep creating some content, keep putting stuff out there. And if there's somebody for you to follow in addition to this from the spin-off of this episode, Gary Vanderchuck, David and I both follow Gary V quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Talks about exactly what we're talking about here, and jab, 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 hook, right hook. So this is being consistent and consistently putting information out there. And it's if you plan to be in sales for a few years, social media is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
So I mean, just keep stabbing at it, and eventually, when you really need it, is when it's gonna pull through for you. All these posts and all the content.
One last thing before we wrap it up today for episode 011 is, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Ding.
Ding.
Hit the notifications so you can be notified every time a new episode comes out. We appreciate all the support, all the comments, all the positive feedback that we've gotten. Until next time, that's a wrap.
We'll see ya. man. I was right at 20 minutes and my nose was like, wanting to start running. I'm like, please don't get. I'm like, when you edit it, just kind of
Yeah, yeah.
keep